Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, thank you. Nice to meet you. For this semester, we're going to work together in the course of Eabd, which stands for the Economic Analysis for Business Decision. All right. First of all, let me provide some basic information about the course which we are going to have. All right. So here I have share screen, and you can see that here's the syllabus. I have already uploaded the syllabus in the Google Classroom. Could you find it?
Yes.
All right, that's good. So please take a look. All the material already uploaded. Right. First of all, my name is Hai. Right. My name is Hai, and here are my contact. Okay. So if you have any question, have any suggestion, please tell me by email or by phone. Right. Regarding with the course, we have the following textbook. This one. Let me highlight the textbook. Okay. We have the textbook titled Ministerial Economics and Business Strategy. Right? Here are some learning outcomes of the course. Right? You can see that in total, we have 5 learning outcomes. The first one, we are going to discuss about the business environment, the role of market forces, something like supply and demand, right? The second learning outcome is to apply some basic quantitative tools to conduct demand analysis. Right? The third one is about the production process and cost management. Then we are going to talk about market structure in the fourth learning outcome. And finally, is about pricing. Okay, so if you look at this learning outcome of the course, you can have a big pictures of what is about the course of Eabd. All right, we're going to talk about business environment, market forces, demand analysis, cost of production, market structure, and pricing. All right. Related with grading, there will be 4 components of grading. Namely, the first one is class participation, with the percentage of 10%. Then you are going to have 2 midterm exams. All right, each of them have the width of 20%. Right, and finally, the final exam is graded of 50%. Right. More specifically, with the first midterm exam, it will contain the first 3 learning outcomes. The first 3. The second midterm exam will cover the 4th one and the 5th one. All right. For both of these 2 midterm exam, the format is multiple choice question and problem solving question, multiple choice and more problem solving question. All right. And for the midterm exam, the time limit is 75 minutes. All right, 75 minutes. For the final exam, the time allow is 90 minutes, and it will cover all the learning outcome of the course from the first one to the 5th one. All right. Of course, I'm going to make announcement before roughly about a week before making the midterm exam. Right. What else? If you read in more detail of the syllabus, you can see that I have included the teaching plan. We are going to have 12 weeks, yeah, and you can see what are the goal, what are the topics, what are the assignment. Let's take an example. For example, the first week we're going to look at the chapter number 1, and the learning outcome is about the business environment, right? Here are the learning objective, and you will have to do the assignment. All right, and the assignment is the problem set number 1. Right, what are the problem set? I have uploaded the problem set in Google Classroom, right? And the requirement is following. Before the class, please read the textbook before the class. After the class, do the assignment and do the problem set. Okay, let me show you the example of the problem set. So here's the example of the problem set number 1. Problem set number 1. It contains 2 parts, and the part A are the textbook problems. So for example, 1.3, yeah, stand for chapter number 1, problem number 3 in the textbook. Okay, so here it is. For example, here's the textbook. It is required to do the chapter number 1 and problem number 3. Yeah. So for example, you open the textbook. Here are the question at the end of the chapter number 1. Okay, so it is required to do the problem number 3. All right. For example, chapter number 1, problem number 17. All right, so you can find it. Problem number 17. Here it is. Okay. All right. So keep in mind that the requirement is to read the textbook before the class and to do the problem set after the class. All right. If you have any question, please ask me. All right. Okay. That's it. Do I have any question about the syllabus, about textbook, about the problem set and other requirement? Have any question? No?
After the class, do we have the solution for the problem set?
We are going to answer the. If you have any question, you can ask me during the class hour about the question in the problem set. Yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to give you the solution in written form. Okay, understand?
Yes.
All right. Phương Nhi, right? Phương Nhi asked me a question about the rating. So in general, my policy is going to be the following. Normally, I do not want to give a low rate. Okay. If you have any suggestion, or if you have any other difficulties, all right, please advise. Ask me. if you have any question, all right, any question, all right, in advance. Okay, understand the point. And of course, I know that I do not know that you can read a textbook or not, but hope that you try, at least you try to read all the material, right? Do the exercise, and I can guarantee that if you do exactly all the things that I say, you will not have a low grade for the course. Okay, understand the point. If I can see that you are working, I'm not give you low grade for the course, right? Understand? Phương Nhi, did you got it? So,
Okay.
right? The simple thing that if I can see that you're working, you will not have low grading. All right. Okay. What else? Any other question? Do you have any other question? So, for example, if I'm talking too fast, yeah, please tell me, and I'm going to slow down. All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
If when we don't understand by English, could you explain by Vietnamese?
Sometimes I'm going to explain something in Vietnamese. I'm going to do it, yeah, but not all the time, right? Sometimes. I think that it is very important to keep in mind that we are not going to translate on the concept from English into Vietnamese. All right. Sometimes I'm going to try to explain something to you in Vietnamese, but not all the time, right? For example, I might give you some review, right, in Vietnamese, for example. Okay. Anything else? Right? Are you okay?
Yes.
Right. So let's start with the first chapter, the course. Here it is. All right. So today we are going to have the chapter number one. Chapter number one. It will give you the introduction about the key topics of the course, about the key question, about the key question to be included in the course. And you can see that if you look at the title, if you look at the title is the fundamental of managerial economics. So you can see that we are learning what do we are learning? We are learning managerial economics, and managerial economics is the further extension of microeconomics that I hope you have already taken a course of. Did you have a course of principle of microeconomics? Did you have one? Yeah. And that's good. So you can see that managerial economics is the further extension, of what we did, what you have learned in microeconomics, right? The idea is that When, for example, when you get graduated from the university, you enter the job market and you are going to be a manager. You are a manager of the firms, right? The goal of this course is to equip you with the tools, economic tools, and knowledge to make decision. Make decision. Yeah, that's why you can see that we have the title of the course, and the name of the course is Economic Analysis for Business Decision, EABD. Yeah. Okay. In the chapter number 1, we are going to talk about the following. First, we are going to summarize the goal of the firms. We are going to talk a little bit about the constraint of the firms. We are going to discuss about the role of incentive, right? Let me talk a little bit more about incentive. In the course of microeconomics, I hope that you have already know the principle of following, that people respond to incentive. Do you know it? The principle that people respond to incentive. No? I say there is a principle of economics. It states that people respond to incentive. Do you know this one? No?
No.
All right. Let me try to explain. All right. You are a manager. You are a manager. Suppose your firm is selling something. You want to increase the revenue. You want to increase the revenue. And of course, if you want to increase the revenue, you might want people to buy more of your goods or services. All right. How can you achieve this? You have to create some kind of incentive to encourage people to buy your goods. Okay, understand the point? And what kind of incentive you can create to encourage people to buy your product? What kind of incentive?
Your marketing.
Marketing, you advertise more, right? What else? You can reduce the price, right? And by reducing the price, you will create incentive. You can encourage people to buy the goods. Understand?
Yes.
Right. So the principle that we say here, people respond to incentive in general is pretty simple. It say that if you want to change, someone's behavior, all right, what would you have to do? You have to create some kind of incentive. You have to create the incentive. Now, let me give you another example. Suppose you know that we are in the period of pandemic, right? And we are facing economic slowdown. We are facing economic slowdown, or we say we have economic recession, right? And the government, they want the following. The government wants people, the Vietnamese people, to spend more on consumption. All right? And based on our rule, we know that the government will have to create incentive. They have to create incentive. What kind of incentive they can create? What do you think? If they want people, the Vietnamese people, to spend more money on consumption.
Lower tax.
Yeah, that's correct. They can create incentive of lowering the tax. Right? Lowering the tax. What kind of tax they can decrease? Which type of tax?
VAT.
Yes, that's correct. For example, they can reduce the VAT tax rate, right? And it is a practice in Vietnam. You can see that at the beginning of February this year, right? The VAT tax rate is reduced from 10% to how much?
8%.
8%. That's correct, right? So it is an incentive for people to spend more money on consumption, because by reducing the tax rate, the government can reduce the price, yeah, in the market, the price in the market, right? Okay, so next point. In the chapter number 1, we are going to talk about economic profit and accounting profit. Do you have any idea on the differences between economic and accounting profit? Do you have any idea on this? Do you know the difference between economic and accounting profits? Hope that you have learned about this in microeconomics. No? All right, that's okay. We're going to talk about this in more detail, all right? And I'm going to give you example. The third goal, the third objective is to discuss about the role of profit in a market economy. We are going to discuss about the following point. In a market economy, the profit of the firms or the price of a good is a signal. Is a signal. And using this signal, we can allocate resources throughout the economy. All right? We can allocate resources throughout the economy. Right? The fourth point is we're going to take a look at a model. It is called the 5 forces framework, which is proposed by Michael Porter, a quite well-known economist. Yeah. Using this framework, we are going to analyze the industry's profit. All right, the industry's profit. So for example, suppose you want to analyze the profit in the industry like car manufacturing. Yeah, it is an industry. We want to know that what are the factors that affect the profit in the industry of car manufacturing. We can apply this framework, 5 forces framework. Right. The next point is to acknowledge or recognize the time value of money. Time value of money. Do you have any elementary course in finance? Have any? Do you have any basic course in finance? No? No. Let me ask you a concrete question. Right. Let me ask you a concrete question. There is following. Suppose you have a sum of 10 million Vietnam đồng. All right. But we have two different time points. For example, we have two time points. It is January 2012, the first one, and the second time point is February 2022, right? And you can see that the value of 10 million in February is different from January 2012, right? Why?
Yes.
Why? My question is why? We know that the value of money in January 2012 is different from the value of money in February 2022, right? And my question is why?
Inflation
The same
rate.
amount. What? Once again?
Inflation rate.
Yeah, because we
Inflation.
experience some kind of inflation, right? Due to the impact of inflation. I want to further ask you a question. So suppose you want to compare the value of 10 million in February 2022 with 10 million in January 2012. How will you compare? How would you make comparison? How would you make the comparison?
We should calculate the present value.
What are you going to calculate? Well, tell me the formula.
Future value or present value.
That's correct. Yeah, you should compute what future value or present value, right?
Yes.
All right. How do we do it?
Future value.
Yeah, I'm going to write out. Don't hesitate to be wrong. Yeah, it's normal. If you make something wrong, I'm going to correct you. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's and we have present value minus the one
Present value
minus. So sorry. Multiply.
Right.
Multiply. No, present value multiply.
Present value multiply by
1 plus.
Right. In bracket, right?
1
1
plus the interest rate.
The interest rate. That's correct.
And
to the power
Right now.
mũ đúng không? To the power of
and số kỳ tính lãi ạ. Kiểu
and
yes.
in our case n is equal 10. See it?
Yes.
Right? You have 10 years, right? That's correct. You're correct, right? So
Yes.
here's 10, and suppose the interest rate is 1 plus, let's say the interest rate is 5%. Okay,
Yes.
so it's 0.05, right? To the
Yes.
power of 10. So we will have the future value, and that's correct, and that's correct. Yeah, it's practically correct. So you have quite good intuition about the fact that the value of money always change. Yeah, always change across the time, right? And we have a tool to make the comparison. All right, that's good. That's good. That's very good. So here's apply the present analysis to value the access. The next point in the chapter number 1 is to use the so-called the measurable analysis in making optimal decision. For example, in determining the optimal level of output, right? Do you know what is measurable analysis or measurable thinking? Thinking, yeah, in economics, it is very important to keep in mind that we have to think at the margin. Do you know what does it mean? Thinking at the margin or doing measurable analysis. No? Let me give an example. Are you familiar with the concept like MB and MC in the course of microeconomics? Do you know it? No?
MC mean marginal cost.
Yeah, MC stand for marginal cost, right? And MB is stand for the marginal benefit, sorry, benefit, right? And what is the rule? Do you remember the rule? The net benefit is going to be maximized when the net benefit is going to be maximized when the marginal benefit equal to the marginal cost. Okay, yes. Understand? Let me give you a concrete example. Let me give you a concrete example. Suppose we want to drink water. We want to drink water, right? And the price for a bottle of water is $5,000. So if you want to drink water, you go to the grocery shop, you buy a bottle, and it costs $5,000. Yeah, and to make it simple, we can assume that the price is constant. So if you buy one glass of water, one bottle of water, you have to pay 5,000 for one. If you buy 1,000, you also have to pay 5,000 for one bottle of water. Yeah, and in our case, you are the people who want to drink water. It is going to be your marginal cost. Yeah, it means that if you want to drink additional bottle of water, it costs $5,000. Understand? Understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
Right? Once again, I say that we assume that the price of water is $5,000, right? And it means that your marginal cost is constant, right? Because you will always have to pay $5,000 for an additional bottle of water, right? Now let's focus on the marginal benefit. You know that the rule is your net benefit is going to be maximized when MB equal MC, right? Hope that you remember the following rule or principle. It is a principle of diminishing marginal benefit or diminishing marginal utility. Utility. Do you know it? The principle of diminishing marginal benefit. Do you know it? No? Do you know what does it mean, diminishing marginal benefit? Yeah, the idea is pretty simple. Yeah. Let me try to explain. Suppose you are thirsty, right? So you start drinking. So the first bottle of water will give you huge benefit, right? Understand? Because you are thirsty. Okay. Now what would happen to the second bottle? The second bottle of water might give you positive benefit, but the marginal benefit of the second bottle of water is lower than the first one. Understand this point? Do you understand?
Not yet.
Not yet, right? Once again, you are thirsty, right? You start drinking, right? So the first one, the first bottle of water will give you a huge benefit, right? After drinking the first one, you start drinking the second bottle. The second bottle of water will give you a diminishing marginal benefit in comparison with the first one. Do you understand? No? Do you understand what does it mean diminishing in Vietnamese? I mean, hả? Đúng rồi, giảm dần. Nó diminishing marginal benefit là lợi ích cận biên giảm dần. Okay. So the idea is following. You drink the first glass of water. It will give you a huge marginal benefit, right? You continue to drink the second bottle of water. It gives you a marginal benefit, which is lower than the first one. Yeah. You continue to drink the third one. Then you can see that the marginal benefit of the third one is lower than the marginal benefit of the second one. If we draw on the graph, all right, this way, like this way. Suppose, oh, sorry. Oh, I don't know why I can not draw anything. What happened with? All right. Sorry. All right. Once again. Right. Here it is. Right. I'm trying to draw a graph. Suppose here's the value of the bottle of water, right? To you, the benefit of drinking, and here's the quantity. You can see that for the first one, it gives you a huge value, right? The first one. For the second one, it will give you a lower marginal benefit. For the third one, it will give you even lower. Yeah, if we connect the dot, it will get a curve, and it is the marginal benefit curve. And you can see that it is downward sloping, and it actually tells you about the law of diminishing marginal benefit. Okay, understand this point?
Yes.
All right. And of course, you can see that it might be at some point when the marginal benefit of drinking water might be decreased to be zero. For example, the fourth one give you the zero marginal benefit. Okay. So what's next? You can see that the optimal choice is to be decided when the marginal benefit equal to the marginal cost. And recall that the marginal cost of drinking is the price, and it is $5,000. Right? And suppose I have the following marginal cost. It is because it is constant. You can see that I draw it as a horizontal line, and it's $5,000. Right? And suppose I assume that the MC curve and the MB curve cross at the quantity of 2 at this point, right? So it means that my optimal choice is to drink how much? How many? Sorry, 2 bottles, right? Because at the quantity of 2, right, I have the marginal benefit of drinking equal to the marginal cost, right? Now, let me ask you a more tricky question. You can see that the rule of MB equal MC is pretty simple, but in real life, sometimes it's quite hard to apply. Why it is quite hard to apply? Because in order to apply the rule of MB equal MC, we have to quantify benefit and cost in terms of money. Right? See it? And sometimes you can see that it is impractical in reality. It is impractical in reality. For example, in our example, in the example of drinking water, you can see that we can easily quantify the cost in terms of money. Yeah, it is $5,000. But it is much more difficult to quantify the benefit of drinking water in terms of money. Understand my point? Understand it? Okay. Do you understand? I say that sometimes it is quite difficult, yeah, to quantify benefit or cost in terms of money. Understand my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tức là gì? Chúng ta có thể thấy là để mà áp dụng một cái nguyên tắc rất là đơn giản, đó là MB equal MC, tức là lợi ích cận biên bằng chi phí cận biên, thì chúng ta đạt được cái trạng thái tối ưu ấy. Quy tắc này thì khá đơn giản, đúng không? Nhưng mà để áp dụng nó trên thực tế thì nó đòi hỏi chúng ta phải làm được một việc, đó là phải lượng hóa được lợi ích dưới dạng tiền, the quantify benefit in terms of money, hay là lượng hóa được chi phí dưới dạng tiền. Lượng hóa được chi phí dưới dạng tiền trong ví dụ của chúng ta thì nó tương đối dễ, uống một chai nước thì trả 5.000. Nhưng mà lượng hóa lợi ích, ví dụ lợi ích của việc uống nước đo lường bằng tiền ấy, thì điều đó không dễ. Đấy, ý tưởng của nó như thế. Tuy nhiên nếu mà áp dụng vào bài toán của một doanh nghiệp thì các em có thể thấy là ví dụ như measurable benefit của một doanh nghiệp thì nó có thể đo lường bằng cái gì? What can be the measurement for the measurable benefit of the firms? What do you think? The measurable benefit for the firms would be the measurable revenue. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. So it is quantifiable, right? We can easily quantify the measurable benefit for the firms. Yeah. It is not like the case of drinking water. Okay. So you can see that it is a very useful framework of using the measurable analysis in making optimal choice. All right. Okay. Measurable analysis. And lastly, we're going to identify some principle of effective managerial decision making. All right. So in general, what we are going to do, we are going to talk about the goal of the firms. We are going to distinguish economic and accounting profit, talking about the role of profit, describe the 5 forces framework, recognize the time value of money, apply measurable analysis, and discuss about the principle of making good decision. Right? What happened to my? Oh, right. Sorry. Right. Yeah, some basic concept that we are going to have. First of all, we have the definition of who is a manager. And pretty simple, a manager is the one who direct the resources, direct the resources to achieve the goal. Xin lỗi các em, PowerPoint của thầy nó bị lỗi, hơi chờ một chút nhé. All right. So I say that the manager is the one who direct resources, yeah, to achieve the goal. What are the decisions that the manager have to make? First of all, he has to direct the effort of other people. Yeah, he is a manager, and he have to coordinate the efforts of other people in the company, of other employee of the company. Yeah? He has to make some decision like purchasing input in the production, to determine the optimal combination of inputs, yeah, the optimal combination of inputs. And the manager will also have to make some other decision, such as price, what price to set, and the quality, yeah, how to make the optimal quality. Okay, why? Because you know that of course the company often say that they are selling the goods of best quality. What does it mean, best quality? Actually, personally, I do not have a very good definition of what is best quality. Yeah, what is the best, right? What do I mean? You can see that if you want to improve the quality of the goods, it will involve some kind of trade-off, right? Increasing quality means that the cost will have to increase. Understand? And we
Yes.
know that the resources available to us is limited. Yeah, the financial resources available to us is limited. Okay, so it is a trade-off. And the other point I want to remind you that talking about the manager of the firms, you have to distinguish with the owner. Yeah, there are different concepts. Sometimes the owner of the firms might be the manager of the firms, but not all of the case. Okay, and the living of the owner is often separated from the life of a firm. Okay, right? Right, so let's have a break for about 10 minutes. Okay, let's have a break. All right. So yeah, I'm back. Yeah. Let's move on. Right. Talking about next point, right? Let me remind you about the definition of economics. Economics is the science about choices in the presence of scarce resources. Yeah. So the very important point to keep in mind that all the resources available to us is limited. Yeah, are limited. For example, we are have constraint in financial resources. We have limited time alone. Yeah, for example, we have only 24 hours a day. All right. So what does it mean? It means that all our decision will imply some kind of trade-off. Yeah. If you want choose something, you have to give up another thing. Yeah. And you can see that in making decision, you can see that a very important concept we have to take into account is the concept of opportunity cost. Right? Oh, let's take an example. Today, you choose to attend the class. Why did you choose to attend the class? You choose to attend the class because the opportunity cost of attending the class is low. Understand the point? All right. Once again, you choose to attend the class because your opportunity cost of attending today's class is low. Do you understand this point?
Yes.
Right? If we change something, and you can see that it is going to be harder to attend the class. For example, you have another option or an alternative, right? Alternative for today afternoon. Suppose someone propose you a job that will give you an earning of $2 million for today afternoon, right? So you can see that in this case, your opportunity cost of attending the class of today is increased. Yeah, you have an increase in opportunity cost, and it would be harder for you to attend the class of today. It will skip the class, right? So what do we mean? We mean that in making decision, we always have to trade off. We have to give up something when we choose something, right? So based on this, here are some example of what are the decisions to be made when we talk about managerial economics. Here are some example. Right? For example, a manager of the firms might have to answer the following question. Should the firm purchase inputs, component from other manufacturer or produce within the firms? Or in other words, we say, should they use outsourcing, right? Some other question, should the firms specialize in making only one type of computer or produce several different types? Right? Oh, let me give you an example. You know, the Apple company. Let's take an example of Apple company. About 15 or 10 years ago, they make only one type of iPad, one type of iPhone. Yeah. But in the last few years, you can see that they extended their product line. Yeah, you have various type of iPad, you have various type of iPhone, you have various colors for iPhones. So more choices for the customers. But of course, you can see that with more choices, with extended product line, they have extended, yeah, with an extended product line. It is a company with an increasing cost. Yeah, the cost of production for Apple will increase. So you can see that they will have to trade off between the extended product line and the cost of production. What next? The next example is the question of how many computers to produce. Yeah, how what price to set. So you can see that for a firm, the decision about the quantity and the decision about the price is going to be very, very important. Yeah, and we are going to talk much about this type of decision. Okay. Right. Here are some example. Here's the 7 principle of making decision. I'm not going to talk in much detail, but because they're pretty simple. First of all, if you are a manager of a company, you have to clearly identify the goals. You have to acknowledge the constraint you have to face. You have to recognize the importance of profits. You have to understand the incentive, the role of incentive, how to create incentive, right? You have to understand the market forces, supply, demand. You have to recognize the time value of money. You have the ability to apply the measurable analysis. And lastly, you have to make decision based on data, or we say make data-driven decision. Okay, so here are the 7 principles of effective decision making. Okay, so keep in mind that, of course, if you are a manager of a firms, you will have to answer many questions. But here are the principle you have to be sticking with when you make your decision. First, talking about the first principle, right? It is about identifying the goal and the constraint. First of all, the goal should be well defined, clearly achievable. Yeah, clearly defined and achievable. You can see that in reality, most of the firms, they have long-term goals and they have short-term goals. Yeah, long-term goals and short-term goal. Right? For example, if you open some kind of annual report of a company, let's say you open the annual report of the Win Group company. Yeah, often the case in the annual report, they tell you about the long-term goal of this company, and they often tell you about the short-term goal of the company. And to make it well defined, they will explain how they can achieve the goal, how they will achieve the goal. Okay. The second point, for simplicity, in our course, we assume that the firm's overall goal is to maximize the profit, in reality, you can see that there are many the so-called not-for-profit organization, right? So for this type of organization, the ultimate goal is not to maximize the profit, okay? But when we are talking about business, we assume that the ultimate goal of the firms is maximizing the profit, right? Is maximizing the profit. We assume that. The ultimate goal of the firms is profit maximization. What are the constraints for the firms to achieve the goal? First of all, of course, there are various constraints, but here are some examples. The technology, the availability of technology, and the price of inputs that they use in production. And of course, there might be the constraint like something like financial constraint, access to credit, and so on. All right. So once again, keep in mind that as a manager, you will have to clearly identify the goal, and you will have to deal with the constraint. Yeah, that would make it difficult to achieve the goal. All right. The next point is the difference between accounting profit and economic profit, right? Accounting profit and economic profit. First, let's take a look at the definition. Yeah, we define the accounting profit is the total amount of money taken from sale minus the dollar cost of producing goods or services. Of course, it is this definition is quite lengthy. In short, we have the following: the accounting profit is equal the revenue, yeah, subtract the explicit cost for the firms, right? The cost measured in terms of money, yeah, in terms of money, right? What is the economic profit? What is the economic profit? Economic profit essentially is equal the total revenue subtract the explicit cost and then further subtract the implicit cost. Implicit cost, right? And we say the sum of explicit cost and implicit cost is the total opportunity cost. All right. What do we mean? You can observe the following. Sometimes in real life, the accounting profit might be positive, but the economic profit might be negative. Can you give me some example in real life of the case when accounting profit is positive, but economic profit is negative? Can you give me some example? No? Right. So let me give you the example, right? Okay. Maybe it is quite hard for you to give a concrete example. Suppose you have the following. We have you have a grocery shop, all right, and last month you have the revenue of 100 million Vietnam đồng, right? You have to pay some cost. You buy something and resell. Yeah, you have the cost of 80 million. Yeah, because you have to buy inputs, right? And based on this, you can see that your accounting profit is 20 million. All right, it's 20 million. And it is positive. It is positive. All right. Now we are going to compute your economic profit. Assume that we have the following situation. You are the owner of the house. Yeah. So you do not have to pay the rent. Yeah, you have to not to pay the rent. Suppose if you do not run the grocery shop and you rent the house to other firms. Let's say you rent the house to the Techcombank, right? They will pay you 25 million a month for your house, right? What else? If you do not run the grocery shop, you might work for another firm. For example, you might work for Viettel company, all right? And you will have a wage of 20 million per month. All right. So please tell me, if we want to compute your economic profit, what is your economic profit in this example? Tell me, please. What would be your economic profit in this example? What did we have? You can see that the cost of buying inputs, yeah, 80 million. This is your explicit cost. Yeah, this is your explicit cost. All right. How do we compute your implicit cost? Have we, please? Anyone?
The implicit cost is 25 million.
25 only?
20.
20 or 25? Actually, Actually, your implicit cost is the sum of 25 plus 20. Yeah, your implicit cost is going to be 45 million. Yeah, it includes both the cost of rent and the foregone wage when you do not work for Viettel company. Understand the point? Okay.
Yes.
Right. So in this situation, you can see that your economic profit became computed in the following way: the revenue subtract the explicit cost of 80, and then further subtract the economic cost. Sorry, your implicit cost of 45, and your economic profit is minus
minus 25.
25 million. Yeah. So what do we mean when your economic cost is negative? Right? It means it's not a good choice of running a grocery shop. Understand my point? Did you got it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Next question. You know that when you do business, you always have to pay tax. All right. And my question, you have to pay tax based on accounting profit or based on economic profit?
Based on accounting profit.
Yeah, that's correct. You will have to pay tax based on accounting profit. Yeah. And once again, pay attention on the fact that sometimes your accounting profit is positive, but your economic profit is negative. Yeah. It means that you're losing money, but you continue to have to pay tax because your accounting profit is positive, right? Okay, that's it. Now the next point is about the role of profit as a signal in a market economy. Talking about the role of profit, we can say the following. We say profit as signal to the resources holder where the resources are most highly valued by the society. So let me explain this point in simple language. In microeconomics, you know that you have 4 types of market. Yeah, 4 type market. What are the 4 types of market? Remember it?
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Competitive
Yes.
market.
What?
Competitive.
Competitive market. Not very exactly. We often say perfect competition, right? Perfect competition or perfect competitive market. What else?
Oligopoly.
Oligopoly. Right. Anything else?
Monopolistic competition.
Yes, that's correct. Monopolistic competition. All right, sorry. Right. Recall that in the two-type market, perfect competition and monopolistic competition, we have the following condition. The condition of free entry and exit. Remember it? Yeah, it is easy to enter the perfectly competitive market or monopolistically competitive market. Understand this point? Free entry and exit. Remember it?
Yes.
Right? Why the firms can enter the market? Because they receive a signal, right? Signal. And what is a signal? Profit. Profit is a signal. Based on the signal of profit, the firms might want to enter or exit the market in the long run. Do you remember this point? Right? And the rule is pretty simple. In perfect competition or in monopolistic competition, if the profit is positive, right, then what will happen? New firms will enter the market. We understand the point?
Yes.
Right? In the opposite case, if the profit is negative, yeah, some firms will have to exit the market. Exit the market. All right. Okay. So that's why people say profit is the signal for the resources holder. In this case, they are the firms. Yeah. The next point, you can see that for people, it is not very easy to observe the profit of the firms, right? So that's why at the beginning of the class of today, I told you that profit is a signal, but price is also a signal. All right? Price is also a good signal. Why? Because price is more observable than the profit of the firms. Do you understand this point? You can easily observe the price when you make decision. Okay, so price is a signal. Yeah, price is a signal for everyone to allocate resources in the economy. All right, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Suppose we have the following situation. At a given time point, we have the following. We have the average income for a Grab biker is 30 million Vietnam đồng per month, right? Given the fact that the average wage for low-skilled worker for low skill workers in Vietnam is, let's say, 12 million per month. Right. My question, what would happen in this case to the allocation of resources? I mean, allocation of human resources. But keep in mind that the wage is the price of labor, right? The wage is the price of labor. Do you understand my question?
People will change their job.
Change the job, right? Change the job. More and more people will try to be the Grab biker, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And this is, and you can see that the wage of 30 million, yeah, send a signal. It send a signal to some people, yeah, and these people will change the job. All right. Now let's discuss the following. What do you think? We cannot say that Grab biking is a high skill workers. Yeah, Grab biker is, I think that is not a high skill workers. So given the fact that the average wage for low skill workers in Vietnam is only 12 million, what would happen in the long run? What would happen in long run? Here I want to give you a hint. I want to mention about the fact that sometimes the price can send a false signal. For resources allocation. Let me put the question differently. Do you think that the wage of 30 million per month for Grab biker can be maintained in the long run?
I think no, because in the long run, the weight of workers will increase because many people change their job in Grab bike.
And what would happen to the wage in Grab biking business?
It will be decreased.
It will decrease. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that you're correct. It is very important to acknowledge the fact that when more and more people enter the business of Grab biking, right, the wage will decrease. Right, and it will approach the average wage for low skill workers, which is 12 million per month. It will approach this number. Understand? Approaching this number. Do you understand? Okay. Approaching the number of 12 million. So why I say sometimes it's send a false signal. Imagine the following case. Suppose let's take a look at the high school student. Yeah, the high school people or student, right? You can see that when he observed the wage of 30 million per month in Grab biking business, he have two options. The first option is to do the Grab biking, all right, to earn this amount of money. And the second option, he can attend the university, right? And what would happen? You can see that when the wage of Grab biking is quite high, it means that the opportunity cost of attending university is quite high. So what might be the choice for the high school student? He might choose to do the Grab biking, right? And what would happen to this student? You can see that when the wage in the Grab biking business decrease and approaching roughly about 12 million, right? He cannot reverse his choice. Understand the point?
Yes.
He cannot revert the choice. Okay, and that's why I say sometimes the price in the market can send a false signal for resources allocation. Okay, any question? Các em có hiểu không nhỉ? Tức là gì? Cái ý tưởng chính ở phần này để giải thích cho chúng ta là gì? Lợi nhuận nó cung cấp tín hiệu cho các doanh nghiệp, ví dụ như doanh nghiệp gia nhập ngành hay là rút lui khỏi ngành, tức là đóng cửa. Đó. Lợi nhuận thì nó không dễ quan sát như là giá cả. Trong cuộc sống thường ngày thì chúng ta thường quan sát giá để mà ra quyết định. Đó. Ví dụ như thu nhập trung bình hay tiền lương, nó là một dạng giá, nó là giá của sức lao động. Thì trong cái tình huống vừa rồi như thầy vừa lấy ví dụ với các em về việc là giả sử tại một thời điểm nào đó, tức là ở đây các em chú ý cụm từ là at a given point of time, tức là tại một thời điểm nào đó mức lương của việc chạy Grab, thu nhập trung bình của việc chạy Grab là 30 triệu, trong khi mức lương đối với lao động chưa qua đào tạo ở Việt Nam là khoảng 12 triệu, tức là khoảng chênh lệch là khá lớn. Thì nó sẽ tạo ra một cái tín hiệu có thể là sai với một số người. Tức là gì? Sẽ có nhiều người đi chạy Grab, và đương nhiên là như các em chúng ta trao đổi lúc nãy, khi mà có nhiều người chạy Grab thì mức lương trung bình trên cái thị trường này nó sẽ giảm xuống. Đó. Nó sẽ giảm xuống tiệm cận với cái mức lương dành cho lao động phổ thông của Việt Nam, mà lúc nãy chúng ta lấy ví dụ ở đây là 12 triệu. Cái tín hiệu này nó sai lầm ở chỗ nào? Nó sai lầm ở chỗ là cái lựa chọn của con người trong một số tình huống là không thể đảo ngược, irreversible. Đó. Tức là ví dụ như là một thanh niên học cấp 3 chẳng hạn, anh ta đứng trước hai lựa chọn, đó là chạy Grab kiếm 30 triệu hoặc là đi học đại học. Thì rõ ràng là việc mức lương trên thị trường Grab quá cao nó sẽ khiến cho chi phí cơ hội của việc học đại học là quá lớn, và do vậy anh ta sẽ gặp khó khăn theo đuổi cái lựa chọn là đi học đại học. Và có lẽ trong một số tình huống thì nhiều người, rất là nhiều học sinh lựa chọn phương án là chạy Grab. Đó. Và dẫn đến anh ta có thể vướng vào một cái bẫy mà các nhà kinh tế người ta chỉ ra, đó là bẫy việc làm có giá trị gia tăng thấp. Bẫy việc làm có giá trị gia tăng thấp. Đó. Bởi vì anh ta không thể improve cái skill của mình để mà đạt được cái mức lương cao hơn. Bởi vì nếu các em cần tư duy là nếu mà nhìn ở một cái bình diện rộng, bình diện vĩ mô một tí, thì cái mức lương trên thị trường thì nó phụ thuộc vào kỹ năng của người lao động, phụ thuộc vào skill của người lao động. Nếu mà người lao động không có kỹ năng tốt thì mức lương trung bình mà anh ta nhận được nó sẽ là tương đối thấp. Và đấy lý do tại sao mà người dân ở chính phủ ở các nước cũng như là các hộ gia đình ở các quốc gia hay là nói chung ở Việt Nam nói riêng thì người ta thường chi nhiều cho giáo dục, bởi vì đây là cái cách thức bền vững duy nhất để mà cải thiện cái kỹ năng của những người trẻ để mà khiến họ có thể nhận được cái mức thu nhập tốt hơn trong dài hạn. Em có hiểu cái luận điểm này không nhỉ? Để nhìn, nếu mà nhìn lại cái bức tranh của Việt Nam, em sẽ thấy để thầy lấy ví dụ về cái tín hiệu, giá cả là tín hiệu để cho các em thấy nhé. Ví dụ như ở Việt Nam khoảng những năm 90 là chúng ta bắt đầu mở cửa và hội nhập. Từ khi đó cái ngành hot là ngành nào? Khoảng đầu những năm 90 các em nghĩ cái ngành mà hot là ngành nào? Giới trẻ thích học ngành nào?
Ngân hàng ạ.
Thời đấy chưa phải ngân hàng. Ngành nào em nhỉ?
Quân đội không? Hay là kiểu
Không, đầu những năm 90 khi mà Việt Nam mới mở cửa hội nhập ấy. Thì những ngành như là kinh tế quốc tế và luật là những ngành hot. Em hiểu không nhỉ? Bởi vì chúng ta mở cửa hội nhập phải tương tác với bên ngoài mà. Đúng không?
Vâng ạ.
Rồi. Thế khoảng những năm 2000, thì cái ngành hot ở Việt Nam là ngành nào? Khoảng những năm 2000 thì cái ngành mà được nhiều người lựa chọn là ngành nào? Là ngành ngân hàng và cái gì? Và chứng khoán. Đúng rồi. Đấy, ngân hàng và chứng khoán. Thế cái tín hiệu nó phát ra là cái gì? Cái tín hiệu phát ra đương nhiên chính là tiền lương của những người làm trong ngành này. Các em có hiểu cái luận điểm không nhỉ?
Có.
Thế ví dụ như thời điểm hiện tại thì theo ý hiểu của các em thì những ngành nào được coi là hot khoảng thời gian một vài năm trở lại đây?
Bất động sản ạ.
Thực ra một vài năm, bất động sản thì thường nó không thực sự được coi là hot. Đấy không hẳn là cái ngành bởi vì người ta hiểu này, bất động sản nó có tính thời điểm. Đúng là ví dụ như năm ngoái những người làm trong ngành bất động sản có thể kiếm thu nhập thấp, thu nhập tốt, nhưng cái xu hướng đó nó không hẳn là một xu hướng bền vững. Những người đầu tư bất động sản thì kiếm được nhiều tiền, cái đó em nói đúng. Còn những người mà làm trong các công ty doanh nghiệp bất động sản thì họ không phải giàu lên một cách nhanh chóng như các em tưởng tượng đâu. Những cái ngành nào mà theo em hiểu là hấp dẫn đối với những người trẻ ở thời điểm hiện tại nhỉ? Em cứ nhìn vào điểm đầu vào của các trường ấy.
Công nghệ thông tin ạ.
Ví dụ như là về data science, là khoa học dữ liệu này, công nghệ thông tin nói chung, nó gì nữa?
Digital marketing.
Về kinh tế số này, đúng rồi, chuỗi cung ứng này, logistics này, đúng không? Đây là những ngành mà ở Việt Nam thời điểm hiện tại có vẻ như là tương đối hot hơn so với một số ngành khác. Các em có hiểu ý tưởng nhỉ? Tức là bản chất ví dụ như với những người trẻ tầm tuổi các em ấy, thì cái tín hiệu các em nhận được nó chính là tiền lương trên thị trường lao động. Đó. Nó ảnh hưởng đến quyết định lựa chọn nghề nghiệp. Em có hiểu không nhỉ? Tất nhiên không phải là đôi khi các em không hẳn là có chủ đích để thực hiện những quyết định đấy. Ví dụ có thể là các em thực hiện quyết định của mình dựa trên cái gợi ý của cha mẹ, là gợi ý của phụ huynh hay là gợi ý của bạn bè, đó. Nhưng nhìn chung rõ ràng là chúng ta phải nhận được một cái tín hiệu nào đấy để mà ra quyết định. Rõ luận điểm này không nhỉ? Hay ngược lại nhé, em có thể thấy là không nhiều người, tức là ví dụ như có một số ngành mà không hẳn là hấp dẫn trong con mắt của những người trẻ, ví dụ như ngành sư phạm. Tại sao ngành sư phạm nó không hấp dẫn? Bản chất nó vẫn quay về về cái mà chúng ta đang nói thôi. Đó là cái gì?
Thấp.
Đó là cái mức thu nhập trung bình, đúng rồi. Đó là mức thu nhập trung bình là tương đối thấp. Thế ví dụ như em tưởng tượng, nói tưởng tượng đơn giản là giả sử những ngành mà có thu nhập, những ngành sư phạm, đúng không? Mà có mức thu nhập cao thì đương nhiên là những người trẻ người ta sẽ ưa thích học sư phạm. Cái logic đó hoàn toàn không thay đổi. Đúng không? Tại sao ở Việt Nam những ngành như là ngành y, dược, công an, quân đội thường nhiều người muốn học? Bởi vì cái tín hiệu mà nó phát ra là từ thu nhập trong những ngành này, đúng không? Như vậy thì để em tưởng tượng là trong một nền kinh tế, nhắc lại cái luận điểm đây, thì những yếu tố như là lợi nhuận này, đối với doanh nghiệp, giá cả, nó là những cái tín hiệu rất là quan trọng để mà các nguồn lực trong nền kinh tế được phân bổ một cách hợp lý. Đúng không? Ok. Có câu hỏi nào không nhỉ? Không gì. Và nhắc lại một lần nữa là đôi khi tín hiệu đó nó có thể là tín hiệu sai lệch, nó có thể là tạo ra những cái tín hiệu sai lệch, tạo ra những lựa chọn sai lầm. Đó. Nó lấy ví dụ như tín hiệu sai lầm có thể như thế này. Ví dụ như các em có thể để ý là với mặt hàng như là nông sản, là một cái thị trường rất là decentralized, tức là phi tập trung. Ví dụ như người nông dân, nó có rất nhiều người nông dân nhỏ lẻ, họ sản xuất ở quy mô nhỏ, họ nhìn thấy một cái tín hiệu là giá hạt macca trên thị trường thế giới tăng mạnh. Đó, họ có thể sai lầm một điểm nào, đó là họ bỏ cà phê chuyển sang trồng macca. Đó, dẫn đến là lượng cung macca nó tăng mạnh, dẫn đến là trong năm tiếp theo thì giá sẽ giảm mạnh. Đó. Và như vậy thì chúng ta vừa quan sát thấy một tình huống là một cái tín hiệu từ phía thị trường nó có thể là sai lầm. Em có hiểu luận điểm này không nhỉ?
Có.
Ok. Right. So next point. Here's the graph. Here's the slide, and on this slide you can see that it is a 5-force framework, and it tells us about the groups of factors that affect the industry profitability. Yeah. So at the center you can see that it is the industry's profit, and there are 5 group of factors that affect the profit. The first one is entry, yeah, the quantity of firms in the market. The second group is the power of input supplier. The third one is the power of buyers. The fourth one is the intensity of competition in the market, right? The level of competition. And the fourth one is the availability of substitute or complements. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 forces, all right, that affect the sustainability of profit in the industry. Let's take an example. Last week, if you read the news, you can see that there was a collapse in the price of Facebook stock it decreased by roughly about more than 20% in a day. What did happen? And the idea is pretty simple. We can see that why the price of Facebook share decreased, because people are pessimistic about the Facebook's profit in the future, right? And my question is, why? Why do we are pessimistic about the Facebook's profit in the future? And what are going to be the factors that affect the profitability of Facebook? Do you have any idea on this? Em có đọc báo và biết là tuần trước giá cổ phiếu của Facebook nó giảm mạnh không nhỉ? Các bạn nào đọc thấy thông tin này không nhỉ?
Có.
Em biết đoán là nếu không biết có thể đoán cũng được. Theo các em đoán thì lý do tại sao mà giá cổ phiếu của Facebook nó giảm? Như thầy gợi ý lúc nãy là rõ ràng là nhà đầu tư họ nhận được một cái thông tin gì đó khiến họ rất là bi quan, pessimistic về cái triển vọng lợi nhuận của Facebook trong tương lai.
Thông báo bị giảm lợi nhuận à?
Thực ra thì họ bị, thầy nói là họ bi quan về triển vọng tương lai cơ. Thực ra ví dụ như người ta có công bố một vài dữ liệu, đó là cái số lượng người dùng của Facebook không tăng, nhưng mà thực ra nó chưa giảm đáng kể. Tức là active user của Facebook thì nó không tăng như là kỳ vọng, nhưng mà nó cũng chưa giảm đáng kể. Nhưng ví dụ như em có thể thấy, ví dụ như
họ kỳ vọng vào TikTok nhiều hơn.
Đúng rồi, tức là ví dụ như em có thể nhìn thấy một hai năm trở lại đây, đúng không? Thầy thì bản thân thầy không dùng TikTok, nhưng rõ ràng TikTok nó là cái gì? Nó là một substitute cho Facebook, đúng không nhỉ? Đúng không? TikTok nó là một substitute cho Facebook, và với sự phát triển mạnh mẽ của TikTok thì rõ ràng là lợi nhuận của Facebook nó sẽ có xu hướng giảm, đúng không? Cái điều gì nữa nhỉ? Điều gì nữa? Ví dụ TikTok là một yếu tố ảnh hưởng này. Theo các em hiểu thì có thể yếu tố nào ảnh hưởng? Một yếu tố ảnh hưởng nữa mà các em có thể thấy, ví dụ như trong thời gian vừa rồi người ta có nói về việc là Apple người ta đưa ra cái chính sách mới trong việc trong việc sử dụng thiết bị của mình, và cụ thể là gì? Đó là người ta nâng cao hơn cái quyền riêng tư của người sử dụng, tức là người sử dụng có quyền tức là cho phép một ứng dụng nào đó, tức là kiểm soát một ứng dụng nào đó về cái mức độ thu thập thông tin của Facebook. Tức là gì? Ví dụ như các em dùng app Facebook trên iPhone, đúng không? Tức là, thì các em có thể làm một việc, đó là kiểm soát cái khả năng truy cập thông tin cá nhân của em từ Facebook. Có hiểu ý tưởng không nhỉ? Đó. Tức là cái khả năng mà Facebook thu nhận được thông tin cá nhân của khách hàng ấy thì nó sẽ như thế nào? Giảm xuống. Đúng rồi, nó sẽ giảm xuống. Và bản chất các doanh nghiệp như là Facebook, Google, TikTok, họ bán cái gì? Chủ yếu doanh thu của họ đến từ cái gì?
Thói quen dùng của người dùng, thói quen sử dụng.
Họ đến từ quảng cáo, đúng không? Nó đến từ quảng cáo. Và quảng cáo nó có hiệu quả hay không ấy thì nó phụ thuộc vào dữ liệu cá nhân của khách hàng mà các doanh nghiệp này thu thập được. Các em có hiểu ý tưởng không nhỉ? Đúng không? Muốn quảng cáo có hiệu quả thì họ phải xây dựng được cái thuật toán dựa trên cái dữ liệu lớn về thông tin khách hàng, đúng không? Thế bây giờ cái thông tin khách hàng mà họ nhận được nó sẽ ít đi, dẫn đến là cái chất lượng quảng cáo mà họ có thể cung cấp cho các doanh nghiệp ấy nó sẽ giảm xuống. Em hiểu idea này không nhỉ?
Có.
Đúng không? Dẫn đến là sẽ có nhiều doanh nghiệp chuyển sang các phương thức quảng cáo khác mà không sử dụng Facebook nữa. Đấy chính là cái ý tưởng chính của nó. Đó. Hay ví dụ như một vài thông tin mà các em có thể đọc trên báo gần đây, nó cũng có nhiều liên quan đến cái sự kiện này. Đó là người ta dự báo là ở khu vực châu Âu, các nước thuộc Liên minh châu Âu, người ta sẽ siết chặt cái kiểm soát thông tin đối với Facebook. Và đấy tổng hợp tất cả những yếu tố đó lại thì nó có thể dẫn đến cái sự kiện là nhìn chung là các nhà đầu tư trên thị trường chứng khoán người ta tương đối bi quan về triển vọng lợi nhuận của Facebook trong dài hạn, đúng không? Nó có thể các em hơi khó mường tượng những cái sự kiện dạng như thế này, nhưng mà chúng ta thấy là cái sự thay đổi trong những ngành công nghệ thông tin nó rất là nhanh. Ví dụ cách đây 20 năm thì không ai có thể tưởng tượng một ngày mà những doanh nghiệp khổng lồ thời kỳ đó như là Yahoo có thể sụp đổ, đúng không?